Hey everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Brian Mwesigwa, and today I am going to be sharing a little bit about myself and about what I'm building, and yeah, a bit about why I'm doing this now. I've stayed away from social media for a while. I have had an experience where I have not been really forced, like intrigued to share life on social media, but this decision was made possible or was ignited due to one of the experiences I had in one of the events that I went to most recently, I think a couple of weeks ago, where I was an honorary and I was awarded with a 30 with a under 30 award for what I'm building and what I've contributed to the economy. Yeah, so a little bit about myself. My name is Brian, as we all know. I am of Ugandan origin, so I was born and raised in Uganda. I moved to British Columbia a couple of years ago, and specifically living in Vancouver, which is like the main hub, the main busy city in British Columbia, in BC. So yeah, uh, what brought me to decide to build Tenovio? And for those that don't know what Tenovio is a property management solution software that we are building due to a gap that we noticed had exceededly happened or had been there for a couple of years, in short. Me and my co-founders shared this experience, and we did our background checks, we did our discovery, we talked to so many tenants. Some of you know me from first interactions. Some of you know me from streets where I was like probably a guy that stalked you to talk about your tenancy lifestyle, and you're like, oh no, I don't know this guy. Why is he asking about my tenancy lifestyle? But yeah, we were trying to understand what are those. Do we have the same shared experience, or is this genuinely a problem that has happened for decades? Is it shared by more than just me and my co-founders, or more than me and a bunch of other people? So, what was that problem? We decided to initially in my early life here, I had a very big challenge where I could not rent a unit without providing a history of rental history or references from my previous landlords. As initially I was renting with somebody and I wasn't on the lease, so they were on the lease, we were sharing. That was a big challenge for me. So from a shared experience, we noticed that tenants do not really have a source of truth for their tenant life. We understood that landlords do not access or have access to the systems that were built for them actually to manage their property and their tenants. And the main reason was for the landlords, it was more of an affordability issue, where these complex softwares were built for them, but they were priced for scale, they were priced for enterprise, right? And on the tenant side, the softwares that have been built for decades in this market have been altered or optimized for property managers, business management, and the tenant as the consumer of these softwares has been left out, right? So what was the question? Why isn't a landlord able to afford to use a property management a solution that allows the tenant, who is the customer for this landlord, to carry their records, right? Let's go. I am deciding to leave this unit. I'm going to rent another place. Why is it so hard for me to have my rent records that I've paid rent on time? Why is it so hard for me to have my references within the system? Why is it so hard for me to just share a link to the next landlord and be able to, for that landlord to be able to verify that, yeah, this person has been a good tenant for years, right? So that's why we decided to go and build something to help the community, not for business, but to help the community, right? To have something that can give a source of truth to better judgment better decision making for property managers and landlords. At the same time, a software that could give the tenant the power to hold their own tenancy record, to hold their own a verified tenancy record, the source of truth, something that somebody can look at and immediately know, yeah, this person will pay my rent on time, because that's the main thing. This person will not cause or harm to my property, which is the second thing. All this information can be picked from just one document, from just one access to one document. As tenants, we rent for years or months in the same unit. We move around often. But what happens before the new unit is always lost in data, rows and rows of data. And we don't have access to that. Even if we did have access to that, for a property manager that doesn't have these softwares, cannot definitely read this information. So that is what ignited the building of Tenovio and start of Tenovio. Yeah, that is all I can share right now, but I'll be making videos on a daily basis to try to explain where we are, what we are, and how far we've gone. I would love contributions. If you feel like there's something that you could add to this build, if you feel like you could share anything with me, I'm a pretty open guy. You can reach out to me directly, or you can just leave a comment. Yep. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day.